All right, guys, I am Josh. I'm the product manager for Dot Drives, and I'm going to walk you through everything that you need to know to become a Dot Drives product expert. If you go through these videos and you would still like some one-on-one time with myself or a member of our training team, you can visit our website at dotdrives.com, go to the services and then training section. There you can easily book a training session with one of our product experts, or you can just shoot an email to josh@dotdrives.com and we'll get you set up in no time. All right, so let's start off with the first four things that you need to be doing in Dot Drives to get set up and ready to go fast. So this is really kind of the fastest way to get into the system and start using it, finding value in it. And then, there's obviously a lot more detail we can get into, but this is like the first four things you should be doing. So I'll lay them out and then we'll go through what it looks like in the system. So the first thing is to customize your pipeline. The second thing you should do is upload your givers. Next, you should assign stewards to your givers. And then finally, create the pipelines for those givers. So when I say create a pipeline, I'm really talking about create a specific ask within a process. So when I say to customize the pipeline, that's step one. That is to customize these phases and steps for whatever you want to use this software to manage. So it comes out of the box with a major donor pipeline. You have 5 phases here: contact, proposal, negotiation, closure, and stewardship. If you hover over these info little icons here, you get a breakout of steps or best practices that should be completed in each of these different phases. And that's what we're talking about when we're saying customize the pipeline. Again, this is a basic kind of best practice based major donor pipeline, but you can customize this and create multiple pipelines for lots of different things. So that's kind of step one, is decide what you're going to manage through this. If it's a major donor pipeline, make sure you customize it so that it makes sense for you and your team. And we'll go through that right now. So if you click on your name in the top right and then select settings, then select pipelines. Here you can see the breakdown of all the different steps and best practices in our major donor pipeline. You can click this and create different pipelines here. You can see this drop down of your different pipelines. You can create new ones here. So if you want to maybe create a pipeline to manage grants, then you could put in what are those steps going to look like for your team for managing your grants. Maybe it's trips, and I'll show you an example of that here. Go to our trip pipeline. You can see totally different steps, totally different phases, best practices, all that stuff. And you can build up to 15 different pipelines here. So I'm kind of giving you the whole run-up, but really at the end of the day, this first step is to just look through this. You can use this pipeline as it comes right out of the box, but we always recommend to customize it. So look at this, make sure it makes sense. We're going to go ahead and edit this here. We're going to change that first phase to discovery, and we're going to break this down and put in our own steps here. So we're going to say step one for us is going to be find their interest. And we can get even more specific. So, hey, we're going to do this through a coffee meeting, and then follow up emails, and follow up thank you letter with next steps. So you get the idea. And then you could say, hey, step 2 or step 3 of discovery is going to look like this. And then once we complete that, we're into proposal. So customize this pipeline to fit you and the way that you and your team are going to steward individuals. If we go to our pipeline now, you can see that it's all been updated. So that is step 1 of these first 4 steps, is customize that process for something that makes sense for you. Next is get your givers into the system. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can manually add givers here, really, really easy. We're going to create one really quick as an example. We'll say Pam Halpert. The only required fields here is the first name, last name, and email fields. So we'll just say pam@dundermifflin.com. And we're going to add Pam in right there. So great, just like that, we have a giver. The other way that you can do it is through an upload or an import. So to do that, it's really, really easy. Click our import button, download this template, and then just copy and paste your data into our template. And then, all right, so let's talk about how to upload givers and how to format your CSV. So it's really, really easy. This is what you're going to be looking at when you download our template. This is exactly what it will look like. Basically, all you have to do is paste your information into the correct column here. So if you have a CSV, all you're going to do is copy from whatever database you're using and then paste just like that all of the fields that you have so that you can get the CSV formatted. A good side note here, the only required fields are the first name, last name, and email. Everybody that you upload has to have those fields. If not, it will block the field and not upload the giver as a whole. So, if I delete this, I'll show you actually, if I delete that, it will give me an error and not allow the upload. So you can fill out all these fields if you would like, of course, but the only required ones again are first name, last name, and email. So you can upload, obviously the organization that they're with, any notes that you want to include. You can do a lot of different things. So go ahead and do that. Now you're formatted, you're ready to upload. You can do this. I'm doing it obviously for 3 here, but you can do this for a list of as many givers as you would like all at once. Then just save it somewhere so that you can find it later, and then upload this actual document. That's the key part is, so we'll just go to the desktop here and name it upload to and save. Now when I go to upload, I'm just going to click browse and then select this file, and you're going to be good to go with your upload. If you aren't comfortable formatting CSVs and don't have experience doing that, just reach out to a member of our support team. You can always use the support button down here in the bottom left as well. And we'll be happy to format that for you. So you could send us the your CSV with your data, and we'll send you back a formatted CSV. We're always happy to do that. So don't stress too much about the formatting. But then I'll click Browse here, and I have a pre-formatted document. You can see now it is uploading, and they have been successfully uploaded. So now we have Pam and her friends in .drives. And that's step 2. Really, that's it. That easy. We are through half of the steps. Step 3 now is to assign stewards to your givers. What a steward is in our system, you'll see that throughout the system and different places. Really, that's just the internal team member. So who on your team, who over here in your users, right? Who's on your team that's going to be responsible for different situations. You don't have to have a steward here for givers, but you can add one. So I'll select Sal here as the steward right here. And I'll select myself here as the steward for Dwight. Go ahead and hit save. And now you can see we have stewards there. Again, it's not required, but we leave that in as step 3 because it's really important for everybody to know who they're responsible for, what relationships, and how they're going to steward them. So there you go. Once you've added your stewards, you are completed with step 3. And now we're on to the last step, which is step 4, creating the pipelines for your givers. So we're going to go to our pipelines here. And let's start one of these pipelines. And when I talk about starting a pipeline, when I click this button, really what this is asking me at a high level, it's we're going to approach a giver, and somebody on our team is going to be responsible for that, and we're going to be asking them for something. That's really what we're talking about when we talk about pipelines. So if I use the Start Pipeline button, keep that in mind. Those are the basic things that we're really talking about here. So we'll ask Jim here for a year-end gift. So the title of this, let's make it Jim Year-End Ask. The category, that's of the giver. Are they an individual, a church, a foundation, or an organization? We'll just select individual, starting phase, discovery. It's really easy to move them around, so don't worry too much about that. What giver are we going to be approaching? We're going to approach Jim. Who on our team is going to be responsible for this, to steward this well? I'll select myself. Donation target, that's where the funds are going to go. Go ahead and check out the admin video for more details on that and how to create these targets, but it's really easy to do. But that's really just where the fund's going to go. Proposed amount, not required. If you know how much you're going to ask, go ahead, how much you're going to ask for, go ahead and put it in. If you don't know, you can always fill that in later. So don't worry too much about that, but it's always good if you know to put that in. A pledged amount is a verbally committed dollar amount. So if we asked him for $5,000, he says, yes, I would love to do that, and we haven't yet received the funds, we can put that in as a pledge. Again, don't worry too much about that on creation. You can go back and fill that out. Select your fiscal year. And then the last field here is the advocate, and that is a referee here. So maybe a board member reaches out and says, hey, you should reach out to Jim. He seems interested. You can put them down here. We'll say Creed's that board member. You can set up reminders. Really, really helpful. We'll do that. Reach out for first meeting. More detail and reminders over in the pipeline video, but just show you how easy it is to set those up. So I'll hit save there. Add tags, keep notes as you would like, but we'll go ahead and add that in. So now what you can see is we have one active pipeline with $5,000 proposed, and then on the dashboard you can see our 4 givers and our total proposals here. So there's plenty more detail on all these things that we're talking about in other videos, but in terms of getting set up fast, that's your best path. Right now, I have my givers in the system. My teammates know who's responsible for what. We have the process that we're going to walk them through, and we have our asks set up. So once you have completed that, you're really ready to go. To move them around, as you can see, you can just click and drag around these pipelines. But at this point, you're locked and loaded. You're ready to start getting a lot of value out of dot drives.